Okay, now after we have had a day of extensive coverage on WordPress and the setup and then installing your theme, now I'm going to take you to the next step so that you can begin working with your theme, Avada, and installing your demos, working with them, and getting a better idea of exactly how to manipulate the pages or to start from scratch and to use all the components. I'm going to aim to make this short in the sense of being concise. At the same time, I want to be thorough. So there's no telling how long this video will be. May find a point where I will cover a certain aspect and cut off, and then do a part two video, and then just supply you with the various videos 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So, with no further ado, I have logged in, and on this page, I am ready to go. I'm set at the dashboard, and I see that I have the Avada theme. So when I click on it, I see over here uh, that I have all these options: install demos, support, plugins, etc. The first thing we did yesterday was we went and we updated all the plugins. Let's go ahead and click on the word plugin, and right above it you see it says bulk action. This is something you'll have to go back to, and sometimes it's uh, easily forgotten to go back and say, okay, how do I get rid of these without doing them one at a time? Well, bulk action has these little two arrows. It means there's something in there. So in this case, I just want to update everything that I select. So my Fusion Core is is kind of the engine behind everything that's going on in this theme. The contact form is setting up a form so people can fill in their information, hit submit, and it comes to you. Your layer slider and revolution slider, and those two are just additional sliders to the fusion slider. So let's go ahead and activate them. Um, Layer slider is one that I'm very fond of myself. These are all prepackaged. Revolution, I'm familiar with it to a small degree. Okay, when it's done, it comes with this page that says return to your required plugins installer. I'm going to go to that, so it will tell me if there's any more that I need to pay attention to. It just gives me these two. My plugins no longer has a little orange icon that says how many updates I have. So now, what we're going to do is we will go back to the Avada, and you can either go out here to, or you can go click on it and wait till this shows up, and go now to install demos. And I'll explain what I mean by that as we go. If you recall correctly, you have version 4 point something, and I'm on 3.52, I believe. The difference is you have more to select from. The agency, I'm really not familiar with what its look is. This one is the one that I have used quite thoroughly. However, they all have the same components. It's just how they're used that makes a difference. I'm going to select the most extensive demo that I am aware of, and that would be the Classic. So let's go ahead and install the Classic. Okay, now that we're finished, let's go to the pages and see exactly what it has done. What it has done is given us a a load of pages, 44 pages. Um, and I trashed 106 earlier. This is my testing site. So let's go to, I'm going to just randomly pick a page. Let's say that you are wanting to give a page about that has uh, 4 columns of text already in it. Okay, now as I go to the edit, I see that I have the option of the Fusion Page Builder. Fusion Page Builder is what you want to use because it gives you pretty much all of your tools right in front of you. You have the column options, the builder elements. You can build a design, a layout, and then save it as a custom template and then reuse it over and over and over. And then there are pre-built templates, which is really what we're looking at when we talk about demos. So a portfolio page is, you're saying, it's saying, okay, you sure you want to use this one? Yes, we want to use this one. We don't know what it is, but we want to use it for the sake of learning. So it tells me that it's got a recent works page, a separator. It's got things here. I really don't know what it has. Um, One of the things I pointed out that's kind of can be frustrating is those double lines on your menus. So let's first change this from 3 column to 100% width. That doesn't mean that it can't have 3 columns. That means it goes all the way wide. It does not have sidebars. And let me scroll down and look at the rest of the page. Here are more controls. I have sliders, which will be a page that has a slide that goes across the top or the bottom, the middle, wherever you want it to go. Truthfully, click on the page, and okay, well, I've got my top padding. You may or may not recall about padding when you took the course or courses in web design, but in CSS you set a padding. Padding has to do with the amount of space from the outside, like the edge here of the white that I'm pointing at, to this where this box is. From here to the inside is called padding. From the edge to outside is called your margin. So padding is always what you'll see referenced, usually referenced in here, not margin. Since we told it 100%, this doesn't even have to be filled out at all. We can just go on and say, okay, well, let's go to header. So, do we want the header to display? And your question is, well, what's the header? The header is going to be the part that says the name, or Avada right now, as it says. These are options to put in background images, changing your background color. Um, Background images are something that I try to veer from because they can clutter up a website. The header width, default is 100%. Um, so we're going to leave that alone. Your footer, right now, that's not something that we need to be concerned about. I want to go all the way to the bottom, the page title bar, because that was the thing that I was referencing as a potential issue. Show the bar in content. The title bar is something that is usually hidden. This is an annoying piece that shows up on the page. So I strongly suggest to hide it because your text is already there. And then there is there is a lengthy list of things that can be changed within a page. Let me go to your portfolio width, background, also your has your layout. Select boxed or or wide layout. Boxed means it's going to have an edge around it, and you may or may not want that. I think that the design that you've come up with, that a box may fit. Then again, it may not. Boxed just pretty much suggests that it's going to have um, an outside edge that's blank, white space. And then inside of it will have your various colored listings or whatever, the way you have your directory on paper. Next, we have sidebars. Well, we've already decided and talked about, sidebars are more of blog components. So sidebars, no, have already been set. Um, those are pretty much default because this theme is used more often for website development than blog development. Breadcrumb search bar, that means that if you have 3 pages in, by default, it's going to be yes, it'll show breadcrumbs. Uh, I personally do not like them, and breadcrumbs are the links from one page to another to another to another, so people can step back by clicking on a specific link within the. Let's say that the page they're on is 4 links deep. Um, they've clicked on 4 different links to get to this one. This a breadcrumb will show them where they have come from, so they can click back to go where they to back out. In a sense of speaking, uh, putting it on the search bar just makes it possible for them to find their way out. Parallax is what we do not want, and that's what you and I talked about. As parallax is a one-page design. Now, not all customizations can be done here in the page itself. Some customizations have to be done under appearance and I believe it's referred to as theme options. Yes, right here. We will go to that shortly. Now, we've selected to use this 3 column. Before we do anything more, let's take a look and see what it looks like. Just take at least a look at it. Best way to do that is right click and open it into a new tab so that you can leave this alone. Go over to the new tab. This is what you have. The images did not import in for some reason. The 3 columns just gives you this. It's pretty boring, actually. It doesn't give you a lot to work with. So you're saying, well, where do I go from here? When I clicked on demos, it took me to a page called demos. That's the name of the page. If you're just wanting to see what you have when you install demos, this is something you have. Your demos page looks like this. Under your account, it looks like this. You can literally go to this and edit all of these pieces out, cut them out, and replace them with your content. So let's say you wanted to color each of these a different color. We could do that. In fact, I'll go to that just to give you that an idea of what that would look like. I'm going to leave this one open since we're going to work with demos page, and then we can refresh it. But first, we're going to go to the theme options and get rid of these 2 layers up here. So, going back to my edit page, appearance, theme options. Under theme options, under I have general, which is where you put in the tracking code from Google Analytics, and some other things you can put in for a code for your site. I only use this box personally. Responsive, you're saying you want it's by default it's enabled. Responsive heading typography, that's if you want your font type that you've selected to work with the with someone's device, and I always enable that. The site width, um, I don't I don't touch this because I've already told it that it's going to be 100%. When you base on percentage, then pixels don't matter. Pixels do not matter anymore. And I don't need to work on content plus sidebar width because those are still irrelevant. Header. Okay, now this is the one that we were just looking at and we had questions about. If I click on this plus, I see the different layouts that we were using, or that the one layout that we saw actually that had two layers of text. If you want it so it has a title of what's going on and a color up here, which you can change, that does not have to stay green, or you just want to have social network, let's say possibly Twitter or something of that sort, that you can just shoot out a message every once in a while through it, and people can click on it and see what you've posted that's relevant to upcoming events, possibly. These are all possibilities. So let's just for the sake of that, let's click on this one. And um, for fun, let's give the header a shadow and see how that looks. Width, we want it 100%. Slider position, we want it if there was a slider in it, it would go below the menu. And header content, contact info, social links, navigation, leave empty. Uh, Again, this is something I just leave it as whatever has been given me because this shows up on the far left side. And you can say, well, um, I don't want them to call me, and just leave it blank. They're contacting you with an email. Well, do you really want them to? Okay, now my header background. Recall I said it doesn't have to stay green. Well, again, for the fun of it, let's say we want, uh, okay, this is not where we put in our colors. This is where we put in a header background. We're not using one. Okay, social icons. Do I want social icons? Custom color. They're already set to white. Tooltip options. They should show up underneath them, yeah. And what size are they? All this. Okay, let me save those changes. And then go to, and I wait for that to show up before I move. The sticky header means it will move along with. As they scroll, they'll always be able to see what's going on. To enable the fixed header, which means it stays absolutely at the top, you click here. Before, there are a ton of options to select from. You would put your two different logos, one for Retina display, and the non Retina display would be your normal 72. I'd advise if you're using text, use PNG format. If you want to have someone try to do a design for you, let me know. I have suggestions of people. Sticky header logo. This is to make the logo move with you. That's something else I don't mess with. The logo settings, and so on and so forth. So I'm just not going to go there. I'm just going to go ahead onto menu. Menu options, drop down indicator. If you have one that's below another, sure, you want an indicator. You want some kind of little arrow by the side of it so people will know. Social media, slideshows, elastic slider, light boxes are for pictures also. Contact information, your search page, extra, that's your navigation behavior, so that when you roll over it, you hover over it, it changes colors. Actually, I have used it. Excerpt length, this is when we were talking about having snippets of information and then it says more. Here you can define if it's measured by the length of words or characters. Background. Okay, our background is automatically white in this layout, the classic. So let's say that we want a little bit different. In the boxed area, we want it to be a pattern too to go with it. So I have some kind. These are all patterns. They're not easy to see, so I will zoom in for a second. But as you can see, they've got little, very subtle patterns to them. So let's just pick this one out for now. And then image for the main content, nothing right now. And save. And again, wait for options updated to show.